Hi guys, my name is Abby and welcome back to a new video. Now that Thanksgiving has passed, it is now officially Christmas season. And Christmas is a very special time for my sewing career because when I first started sewing, the first thing I made was actually a dress for Christmas. Granted, it was not good at all. Probably one of the worst things you've ever seen in your life, but it's not like a special tradition in my heart every year to always create a dress for Christmas no matter what. And so I was thinking this year, since usually they're more, I don't want to say like gaudy, but I've made a dress before with it had like pictures of Santa's face all over it, or like a dress with like snowmen. So this year I wanted to do something more like elegant and nice, give me like Ice Queen vibes in a way. And so my sister got this really nice fabric from Hobby Lobby, and it has like ornaments on it and like some ribbon, and I think it's really pretty. So to match the classiness of this, I made a very rough, it's very rough, I'm just warning you now. Oh my god, very rough sketch. Doesn't want to, there you go, rough sketch of the dress. My plan is to have off the shoulder sleeves, which I did before once for a bell dress, but it was different because they were purposely really big and gathered. Well, these are more fitted. So I'm a little nervous about how that and my arm mobility will go hand in hand. But like my last summer dress, it's going to be, a lot of it's similar to the summer dress. And in addition to that similarity, I am also sick. I think there's like a plague going around and it's consumed my throat. I have been eating cough drops as if it were a meal group, and I still, like I have medicine, and I don't know. I think it's just death. At this point, I don't know if it is death or I'm hoping for death. Either way, it's just we're not vibing. But so hopefully this dress will be my little bit of happiness. And who knows, maybe I'll even create another Christmas dress, but I'm really excited for this one, and I think it'll turn out really nicely. So follow along with me as I try to make a elegant, classy Christmas dress. To start off, I made a nicer sketch of what each piece would look like and their measurements to help us all visualize the pieces better. And then using those measurements, I cut out the 5 pieces of my fabric and my lining, and then connected all of the sides together to have my 2 bodice pieces, and then I connected the tops of both the front and the lining pieces to make one bodice piece. It ended up being just a tad too big in the end, so I modified my measurements for the next time to ensure that it would fit me better. Moving on to my off-the-shoulder piece, and once again following my sketch of the measurements, I cut out 8 pieces total and sewed them together on the larger sides to have 4 long pieces. I cut out 4 strips of interfacing and ironed them onto 2 of the strips to give the back of them some structure. Once the interfacing was attached, I sewed the interfacing pieces to the other pieces and then turned them inside out and then top stitched them down to give a nice clean look, and now I had my 2 shoulder sleeves. For the skirt, I cut out my 5 panels following my measurements to ensure that it was fitted around my waist but would flare out at the bottom so that way I could still walk and be mobile. After sewing the pieces together, I sergeed the raw edges and then sandwiched in the waist of the skirt into the bodice pieces. This way hides the raw edges inside the seam and makes it all look nice and clean, but it is very awkward to pin down and sew. After this, I top stitched down the top edge of the bodice and then serged down the raw edges on both sides of the dress. After sewing up the bottom of the dress to meet the zipper, I closed up the back and hemmed the bottom of the skirt. To attach the sleeves, I only sewed down the middle parts of the sleeves to leave gaps for my arms to enter. To clean up the middle part, I sewed in some beading that I had in my stash, and I think it was a cute little added detail that helps to spice up the dress. And then to make sure that it would stay up since it is strapless, I sewed a small strip of elastic on either side of the back pieces to help make it fit tighter. Since I still had some fabric left, I decided to make a matching hairpiece. Using these measurements, I cut out 10 of these pieces and sewed them right sides together, and then turned them inside out, and then top stitching down the edges for a pressed and clean look. To try and match the flower design on the fabric, I then folded together the small ends of each piece to create like a flower petal-like design, and then using a quick running stitch, I hand stitched them together in a circle. I then took the sparkly red ribbon to bring out the red of the pattern and made a bow with these really long ends so it would show for my hair, and then I hand stitched it to my flower piece. I sadly left all my hair berets at school, so I had a hand stitch on this hair clip I found in my room, and ta-da, a cute little flower hair clip.
I'm not wearing makeup, and I took a shower not too long ago, so bear with my appearance. But I finished that dress, and then I remembered that before I even got that fabric, I got this fabric to make a Christmas dress. And I got this one in like October, so very long ago. And I don't know if you could even really see it, but it has like snowflakes on it. They're pretty faint. They're not right in your face, which is why I liked it. And I was going to make a really pretty dress out of this. In fact, that style of dress out of this. And then I forgot about it. And then I was like, wow, how do I already have this amazing idea for a dress? That's so crazy. Because this was it. But now that one's made. And I don't want to make another one of it because, like, it's been done. So, I had this idea last night at like 2 a.m. I literally had an accounting final today at 8 a.m. But at 2 a.m. I was like, before I go to bed, let me make a sketch. And this is what half awake me thought was decent. And I was like, yes. So it's sweetheart neckline. Are we surprised? And then I wanted to do like a cap sleeve. So like, like, and then it, like a cap holds, yeah. And then a gathered skirt, mandatory. And then I was also looking online at pictures, and then I saw one like this. It's like a vintage dress, V-line. But the thing is, it didn't have a waistline seam. Instead, it had like panel strips, which I would love to make. But the thing is, that would take a lot more concentration since you don't have that waistline seam and it's fitted. Take a lot more measurements. And I'm not good with math. And, they don't have this fabric anymore at Hobby Lobby because all their Christmas stuff is sold out. So if I mess up, I can't do it again. So I think I might just go with my first option. But I really want to make the skirt long and have it be like a midi, like mid-calf length. And I'm excited. Christmas dresses, love to make them. I did make a vintage one like my sophomore year of high school. It had like Santa faces on it, and I still wear that to this day. And the ornament one's pretty, but I want to make one that, like, if me and my friends go out somewhere, I can wear it more casually. Well, that one's like a dinner with the fam. So I have time before Christmas, so let's just throw this one in there too and hope it turns out well, as we usually do.
Following the same measurements, I made more of a straight neckline as compared to the sweetheart neckline, but also had to add in a middle layer because even doubled up, the fabric was still a bit see-through. And then after making each piece, I sewed the top of all three together to make it one connected piece. For the skirt, I wanted it to be long, so I cut out 3 rectangles with the length of 29 inches and serged all the raw edges, but not yet connecting them together. I decided to add in pockets because that is the beauty of creating your own clothes, but as usual, I always get confused on what shape the pockets should be, so at first I cut out the wrong shape, but then I did fix it and update the sketch. I then sewed and serged around the sides of the pocket, making sure to leave open the side where my hand would access the pocket. I sewed each open pocket side to the side seam of the skirt panels, and then sewed up the side seams of the skirt to make a long skirt rectangle with pockets. Then I did my usual hand gathering of each layer to make the gathered skirt while catching up on the new season of Project Runway. Then, taking my bodice, I sewed both skirt pieces to the bodice front and middle piece, right sides together, leaving the lining bodice loose for now. And once the skirts were connected to the front and middle bodice all nice and neat, I folded in the raw edge of the lining bodice and just quick whip stitched it down. These are so quick and easy to do, and it's one of my favorite stitches to do. and I made sure to only catch the lining of the skirt so the stitches would not show through onto the front. I then serged down the sides of the dress, making sure not to include in the lining skirt, and then added in my zipper and sewed up the bottoms of both skirts. For the cap sleeves, I used these measurements, cutting out 4 pieces total, and then I sewed them right sides together, leaving the tiny sides open to turn them inside out, and then I top stitched down the sides for a nice clean pressed look as usual. I then used my seam ripper and opened up the top bodice seam a little bit to just slip in the sleeves, and I did this on the front and back. After pinning down the sleeves, I top stitched the top of the bodice and also caught the sleeves and sewed them down as I went along. Lastly, I hemmed down the lining skirt and the front skirt, only I really wanted to sew in horsehair braid, but I left it all at school so it doesn't look as I wanted it to, but I left the hem big enough so that when I am able to go and get it back, I can sew it how I want. And with this, the dress was complete.
I low-key look better without the ring light. You know, maybe it's like one of those things where like, oh, I look better when you close your eyes, you know?